mostly going to like confess how I wasn't very good at praying. That's what this testimony is, and how God moved despite that. But anyways, one of my fives is our gardener, Rachel, my gardener, and he was coming one day, and I had texted him and said I was too busy to chat with him this day, to just let himself in and do his thing and move on. He didn't get my text, knocks at the door. I interrupt my meeting. I see him, and I'm like, what was I thinking? Why would I not just chat with my gardener? He's one of my fives. I've been praying for him every day for the past 2 weeks. And he holds up a bag of seeds, and he's like, well, I maintained one of the university's lawns, and I had a bulk order of seeds. So I thought maybe today I could just de-weed your garden and reseed it for you. And I said, Lewis, I really can't afford that. Like, we've got you an hour a month to keep the jungle tame. He's like, no, I want to do this for you. I've really enjoyed connecting with you recently. And I've just got this. Would you be open to it? And I said, well, could I do it with you? Could you use an extra pair of hands? So we spent like 2.5 hours de-weeding my garden, picking weeds out of the soil and planting new seeds in them.
That's so prophetic.
Right? And I'm the one that had told him, just let yourself in. And so I get down, I'm starting to work. He shows me what to do. He goes to the other side of the garden, starts to do his thing. And I hear him yell, so Thomas, would you consider yourself a fisherman of men? That was his opening question. I just chuckle. I just laugh. And then I was like, well, yes, I would. I'm a follower of Jesus. Do you know that story? Like, what made you ask that? He's like, well, and he unpacked this whole journey he had growing up where he was told what to believe and believed it, did all the service projects, went to all the Bible studies, went to church, and it just didn't seem to make a difference in his life. And then he was curious about it and asked questions, and he really couldn't get his questions answered. And then ultimately left and became an atheist, and he just shut it all down. And then he's like, well, how could I be an atheist? I can't prove with certainty there's not a God. And I said, well, you know what? I can't prove with certainty there is a God. But I do know there's a ton of evidence that there's a God. And if you look at my life, my whole life is a testimony that there's a God. And he stops me and he's like, how can you say that? Aren't you a Christian? I was like, well, yeah, I'm a follower of Jesus. He's like, but you're not allowed to say that there may not be a God. And I was like, well, if we knew there was a God, we wouldn't even be having this conversation, right? He's like, faith. That's why we have faith. And I was like, yeah, pretty much. And it just, the next 2 hours just unfolded our journey of faith, our journey of spirituality with his family, with him going to the Americas to ride his bike down the coast, where he sold and left everything behind to go on what was his little pilgrimage. And he's seeking.